whatever inks that you're using. So if I did something more traditional with this using Duotone, I'm going to undo Duotone, and then I'm going to go back to image mode, Duotone. It's going to remember the last things you set it at. If I put it back on monotone, it still remembers all the blue settings. To reset this, really the easiest way is just to retype in these values, but all you really have to do is put 0 for 0 and 100 for 100, and not 0 for the rest of these values, but rather just remove the value. It shouldn't be 0, it should be blank. Blank is default, and thus resets the percentage value to the default or correct value. You know, or not, which is really what it's supposed to do. So I'll just put the correct numbers in here because this one's just freaked out. All right, I'll just put the right values in here. Okay, so that is now just monotone with all the values corrected. And now if I go to duotone, it's cleared it out. It thinks the second value is white. If you choose another color, you can create, if your printed pieces, let's say this blue and another color that might work with this blue might be a kind of a darky rich green like that. You could get this kind of effect instead of just a bland colorized situation. Especially if these colors are specific values that you've picked from your CMY swatch book, which would generally make these even numbers or rounded numbers, not a 2, but they'll be like rounded to a 5 usually. So I put these both at 80. And then this one here where it's 77, 52, 10, I'll change this to 75, 55, 10. It's hardly different. Those might be much more realistic choices of color if you pulled them from a CMYK swatch book, knowing that you're going to have this color and this color elsewhere in the document. The whole document is printed in just these two colors and maybe black. If you wanted to bring black into it, you could do that. You would choose the choice tritone. The third color here could be black. Be very careful when you do this that you actually type in 100% black and don't just pick from this picker here. However, now it looks pretty heavy-handed. And again, this situation here where you revamp these values, you might want 0 there. Now 0 is everywhere, and maybe you want to just give it a little bump up on the black, like there, 10, 20. It's going to start getting heavier and heavier, right? So I could back that off. I could put these all in at 0. Because you might be surprised sometimes it will shift. It actually did shift at 50, but nowhere else. And then if I want to, maybe I want a little more black. So on 20, I'm putting black. Now all of a sudden, where I had seen it as white, it is now black. So that doesn't necessarily bode well. But I could put just 0 back in that. Kind of strange and interesting. And here, if I put in 90, I can get flecks of black throughout there. That kind of makes a nice effect. I'll put 80 on 80 again. And that just looks like, you know, a cool poster. Too dark, okay? So I stop there. I'm going to bring that back to 0. And maybe at 80, I'll put this at 60. And now I'm happy with it. And that is a tritone effect. Okay, folks, I'm going to let you take a break because I'm losing people. It's about 5 of 8. Let's take about 15 minutes. And I'm going to get a drink of water, and then I'm going to come around and look at sketches.